Welcome back to Centennial Tech, the podcast that makes technology simple, fun, and maybe just a little less frustrating. I'm Chris, and today we're tackling one of the most mysterious forces in the modern world: Wi Fi. That magical signal that lets you watch videos, send emails, and argue with your grandkids about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. If you've ever wondered how Wi Fi works, why your signal keeps dropping, or what you can do to improve it, this episode is for you. Now, let's start with the basics. Wi Fi is just a way of sending internet signals through the air, kind of like radio waves. Instead of plugging a cable directly into your computer, your Wi Fi router takes that internet signal and spreads it around your home so your devices can connect wirelessly. Pretty neat, right? But of course, it's never that simple. Maybe you've noticed your Wi Fi works great in one room, but barely at all in another. That's because, unlike those old radio towers that could blast a signal across the country, your home Wi Fi router has a much smaller range. Thick walls, large furniture, and even household appliances can weaken the signal, which is why your internet might feel slower in certain areas. So, what can you do about it? First, check where your router is sitting. If it's hiding behind a bookcase or stuffed in a corner, it's not doing you any favors. Wi Fi signals spread best when the router's out in the open, preferably in a central location in your home. Think of it like a lamp. If you stick a lamp in a closet, it won't light up the whole room very well. The same idea applies to your Wi Fi. Now, let's talk about something that confuses a lot of people: the difference between 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz Wi Fi. No, you don't need a physics degree to understand this. It just means your router is broadcasting two different signals. The 2.4 gigahertz signal reaches farther but is a little slower, while the 5 gigahertz signal is faster but doesn't travel as well through walls. If your Wi Fi is struggling, try switching between the two. Your device should let you choose which one you want to connect to. Another big Wi Fi headache? Too many devices using the same network. If your internet suddenly slows to a crawl, check what's connected. If your smart TV is streaming a movie, your tablet is downloading an update, and someone in the house is on a video call, your poor Wi Fi might be struggling to keep up. The solution? Either upgrade to a faster internet plan or limit how many things are running at once. Now, we can't talk about Wi Fi without mentioning security. Your Wi Fi password is like the key to your digital home. And just like you wouldn't hand out house keys to strangers, you don't want random people using your internet. If your Wi Fi is slow and you're not sure why, check your router settings to see how many devices are connected. You might be surprised. If you suspect a neighbor or an unwanted guest is sneaking onto your network, change your password to something strong and unique. And no, password 123 doesn't count. Speaking of Wi Fi struggles, I want to hear your stories. Have you ever battled with a stubborn internet connection? Do you have a clever trick for boosting your signal? Join us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/centennialtechpodcast, and let's swap Wi-Fi war stories. You might even get featured in a future episode. All right, let's talk about Wi-Fi boosters. If you have a large home or an area where the Wi-Fi is just plain terrible, you might need a Wi-Fi extender or a mesh network. A Wi-Fi extender is a small device that picks up your existing signal and rebroadcasts it, kind of like an echo. A mesh network, on the other hand, replaces your router with multiple connected devices that spread Wi-Fi evenly throughout your home. It's a bit more expensive, but works wonders if you're tired of buffering screens and dropped connections. Another issue people run into is interference. Yes, believe it or not, your microwave can actually mess with your Wi-Fi signal. The reason? Microwaves operate on the same 2.4 gigahertz frequency as many Wi-Fi networks, which can cause interference when they're running. If your internet suddenly slows down whenever you heat up leftovers, that might be why. The same goes for baby monitors, cordless phones, and even your neighbor's Wi-Fi network. If you live in an apartment building with a ton of overlapping Wi-Fi signals, switching to the 5 gigahertz band can help reduce interference. Let's talk about public Wi-Fi for a second. We've all been there. You're at a coffee shop, the library, or the airport, and you see a free Wi-Fi network. It's tempting to connect, but be careful. Public Wi-Fi is often unsecured, meaning hackers can potentially snoop on what you're doing. If you must use public Wi Fi, avoid logging into sensitive accounts like online banking. Better yet, use a virtual private network or VPN to encrypt your data and keep your information safe. Now, let's say you've tried everything. Your router is in a great spot, you're using the right frequency, you've secured your network, and your Wi Fi is still slow. What now? Well, it might be time for a new router. Like any piece of technology, routers get outdated. If yours is more than 5 years old, it may not be able to handle the speed and number of devices that modern homes require. Investing in a new router can make a huge difference in your internet performance. One last thing before we wrap up. When all else fails, don't be afraid to reset your router. Seriously, it sounds too simple to work, but sometimes your router just needs a little break. Unplug it, wait 30 seconds, then plug it back in. It's like giving your Wi-Fi a nap so it can wake up refreshed and ready to work. And that's it for today's episode of Centennial Tech. Hopefully, Wi-Fi feels a little less like magic and a little more like something you can control. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe and share this episode with a friend who's always complaining about their internet speed. Until next time, happy browsing.